Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. Coming up, we'll find out how you can save some money on your utility bills. But first tonight, a stunning documentary airs this evening on MPT. It is the story of a black musician befriending members of the KKK. Here's a preview.
Musician Darrell Davis is on an unusual mission.
Hey, Gary, how you doing, man?
He meets and befriends members of the KKK.
I never set out to convert anybody. Some of them ended up converting themselves.
Now he owns their robes and hoods.
This is a robe of an imperial wizard. This is the hood. It's often called a helmet. As shameful as it is, the Ku Klux Klan is as American as baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
My people were being squeezed out of existence. We would fight to the last bullet.
When two enemies are talking, they're not fighting. I consider Frank to be my friend.
I consider Darrell to be my friend as well.
How can you hate me when you don't even know me?
These are my fellow Americans.
And Darrell Davis joins us in the studio now. Sir, thank you for coming back to MPT.
Thank you for having me again.
For somebody who is out there spreading peace, love, and understanding, you're fairly controversial.
I'm not controversial, but people make me out to be.
Well, we'll get to that. Let's talk about the musical background. You
Sure.
played with Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry.
I've backed up Jerry Lee Lewis, and I played with Chuck Berry for 32 years.
So how did you decide you wanted to get into the field of talking to racists?
Well, I had an experience as a child where I was marching with a predominantly white, all-white Cub Scout parade. I was the only black kid in the Scout in the parade. And a particular group of white people were throwing bottles and rocks at me, 1968. And I couldn't understand it. I didn't know those people. And I formed a question of how can you hate me when you don't even know me? And I'm 59 years old now, so I've been seeking that answer for 48 years. And I couldn't find it. So I figured, well, who better to ask than someone who would join an organization who often practice hating people who do not look like them and who do not believe as they believe. So I sought out members of the Ku Klux Klan all over the country.
Who was the first Klan member that you sought out?
A fellow named Roger Kelly, who was at the time when I met him, he was the Grand Dragon, which means state leader for the state of Maryland. He went on to become an imperial wizard, which means national leader. And then he went on to become a very good friend of mine.
To this day?
To this day.
So how did that conversation go?
Well, it was over, a long period of time. But I was rather surprised when I first met Roger Kelly because I was warned by the person who gave me his contact information to leave him alone, that he would kill me. And I had to pursue this because I had to have my answer. And he was very cordial. He was very polite. He was even humorous. We got along fantastically. But he let me know where I stood. That I was inferior because of the color of my skin. Blacks were less intelligent than whites, and we committed more crimes than whites, and this, that, and the other. He was somewhat superior. He considered himself to be a separatist, where it wasn't that he didn't like you, but he wanted to be separate from you. And as time progressed, and we found more and more commonalities between us. And the more you find in common, the less things you have in contrast, such as skin color, begin to matter.
The documentary that runs tonight that I have not seen in its entirety has a scene in it with you talking with some young activists, Black Lives Matter activists,
Correct.
I think in Baltimore, and they're not impressed by this. They want to know how you could possibly sit down with somebody who has those feelings,
Right.
says those things about you and to you.
Right. And now let me explain something about Black Lives Matter. The idea behind Black Lives Matter is a great idea. The idea was to bring national spotlight to the plight of predominantly black men who have died, or for lack of a better term, murdered by white police officers, whereby white men in the same situation, innocent or suspects, have gone to jail and then gone home, where the black guys have gone to their grave. But unfortunately, Black Lives Matter is not a centralized organization. There are many, many chapters of it all over the country, autonomous chapters. So there are people in Black Lives Matter in Detroit who contact me supporting what I do and want to know how can they do it. Same thing in New York. The ones in Baltimore were not, as you said, not impressed at all. They behaved more like black supremacists, and insulted me, put me down, etc. However, there were three of them. One of them, the one who instigated the whole thing, he and I are now good friends.
Is there still an active Klan in the state of Maryland that you know?
No. There are Klansmen in Maryland, former Klansmen, things like that, people who try to revive it every now and then. They try to hold a rally up in Sharpsburg. And what they do is they get some Klan people from Pennsylvania to come over to try to build the numbers. But generally only 3 or 4 show up and 2 of them are drunk.
What did you make of the demonstration in Charlottesville? I mean, the fact that it's white supremacist ideology, it's a bunch of people not wearing robes and hoods, and big numbers, hundreds of people there.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing was a lie. All right. They were not, the official reason for this rally was in Charlottesville was to protest the removal of the Robert E. Lee statue, the Confederate symbol. That was not the case at all. First of all, during the Confederacy, there were blacks and there were Jews who also fought on the side of the Confederacy. They lived down south. And some of the Jews were slave owners, some of the blacks were slaves, and they fought on the side of the Confederacy. Today, there are black members who join Confederate organizations, all right, who have ancestry in the Confederacy. So if the idea was to preserve the symbols of the Confederacy, the Robert E. Lee statue, then why didn't these people organizing that rally invite some of those descendants, just like they're descendants of white Confederate people? Why didn't they invite some of the black descendants, some of the Jewish descendants to march along with them and preserve those things? They didn't. Instead, what they did was they marched down the street chanting anti-Semitic and anti-black epithets.
We were talking to Darrell Davis about his experiences with members of the KKK. If you have a question or comment, please give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also tweet your questions. The Twitter address is @MPT News. So with vast experience talking to Klanspeople one-on-one, have you learned anything from that that could be useful on a wholesale basis in addressing this problem?
Yeah, absolutely. Their main concern, the Klan, the Nazis, what they tell me is, I don't want my grandkids to be brown. They call it the browning of America. And they're seeing this rapidly occurring. And they predict, and in fact rather accurately, that by 2042, it will be 50-50 in this country, white and non-white. And a couple of generations thereafter, whites will be a minority. So when you have sat on the throne of power for so long, for hundreds of years, and you're seeing your throne legs get whittled down, and now you're coming down to the level of the people that you considered inferior, is very troubling. So what has to happen is we have to increase dialogue, not just talk with each other and be in an echo chamber where we all agree with one another. We have to invite our adversaries to the table and listen to them, explain their fears, their whatever is bothering them, and share our beliefs. That's how things change. That's how I got to collect robes and things like that, by talking, having dialogue, not just by going and attacking and bashing people.
How many robes do you have?
I have approximately 42 or 43 at this point. I just got about 5 in the last month and a half.
So those are just over the transom, or these are people you know?
No, these are people who are active members who have decided to leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good work.
And it came from, just like you and I are doing, sitting at a table, just, having a friendly conversation.
But did you ever want to slug the guy?
Only when the guy tried to slug me.
That happened?
It's happened a few times, yeah.
Let's take a phone call from Howard County. This is Myra. Myra, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'd like to ask your gentleman guest, do you consider Donald Trump a racist? Thank you.
Great call. Thank you. And broadly, what do you make of the president's varied remarks on Charlottesville?
I think the president, I played for Donald Trump, not during his campaign or his presidential run, whatever, many years ago, back at around 1998, 99, he was promoting something, and I was his musical entertainment. But as far as whether I think he's a racist or not, I don't think he's a racist per se, but I think he says a lot of things that can be easily construed that way, and I don't think he thinks before he speaks. And so he gives the impression to many people, that he leans in a certain direction. He may have those leanings. I don't know. I've never sat down and talked with him about that, so I don't want to, prejudge him. But I know that he says things that are very offensive to a lot of people, even me. But does he really believe those things, or is he just trying to call out to certain people, that he wants to support him? I know one thing, that Make America Great Again, I believe that he won the presidency on one word, the word again.
Because that resonates with the people you were talking about.
Absolutely.
Who were concerned about the racial balance change.
Absolutely, yes.
When you talked about the echo chamber, the thing that makes you worry more about this maybe is the idea that with social media, with the development of various internet chat rooms and websites, people with those leanings can talk to each other much more easily and across the nation or the world, and it becomes an echo chamber where all they hear is that same ideology
exactly
feeding back, and they never hear anything else.
Right.
So what do we do about this going forward? I mean, do you are there more Klans people that you're going to talk to over the next?
I talk to them all the time. I'm going to a Klan rally Saturday after next.
Where?
Down in Kentucky.
Okay.
I was invited by the Klan.
You're the featured guest?
I'm the featured, yeah, absolutely. I am the featured guest. They invited me.
That's just...
And they know that I don't agree with their ideology. But because...
Are you legitimizing them to some extent?
No, I'm not. I legitimize them as human beings. I don't legitimize their ideology whatsoever. I'll defend anybody's right to think as they want to think. We have the right to hurt. But we have the right to hate. We don't have the right to hurt.
Right.
And that's where the line is drawn. But I find that when I talk to even the most hateful people, after and they yell and scream at me and call me all kinds of names, but after a while, when they realize that I know as much as they know, if not more, about their organization, and that I want the same things for my family that they want for their family, they began rethinking, about this person sitting across from them. And over time, the seed is planted, and if you nurture that seed over time, it will grow and blossom. Now, I'm not so naive as to think that that there won't be people, who will not go to their grave being hateful and violent. Yes, of course there will be, but there are people out there who just need to have a conversation with somebody outside of that echo chamber.
The program called Accidental Courtesy airs tonight on MPT after Nova, which is pushed back a little bit by the president's speech.
Afghanistan.
You still playing music?
I am still playing music, indeed.
Any gigs coming up?
I just played one in Ashland, Virginia. I have a few coming up around Montgomery County. Just go to my website, darrelldavis.com.
Darrell Davis, pleasure talking with you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Coming up tonight, what consumers need to know about saving some energy. We'll be right back.
Got an unused vehicle going nowhere? Donate it to the one place that can take you any place. Visit mpt.org/vehicles and support the programs you love on MPT.
The MPT app puts our programs right at your fingertips, so you can choose when to watch, what to watch, wherever you want to watch it. Download it now.
What happens in Japan and Asia matters to me. With NHK World's newsroom in Tokyo, I get the news live from Japan right at the start of my day.
New ideas come out of Asia all the time. NHK Newsline reports on business, technology, and world events from Tokyo to Bangkok.
Once in the morning gives me a heads up on the competition.
Every hour on the hour, the news I want from Asia.
Watch NHK World now on Comcast Channel 268 and Verizon Channel 480.
Are you turning 70 into half this year? If so, you generally have to start spending down your retirement account. Even the minimum distribution can place you in a sticky situation. Luckily, you can now use your IRA to make tax-free gifts. Gifts up to $100,000 will never count as income, but always make a difference. That's icing on the cake.
Make your gift for this year before December 31st. Visit mpt.org/support.
Joining us now is Christopher Walls, BGE's Manager of Residential Energy Efficiency Programs. Chris, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Jeff.
This is the time of year when you hear air conditioners. You walk down the street, you hear they're humming, and you would like to hear a little less of that power being used.
Absolutely.
So tell us what Empower Maryland is all about.
So Empower Maryland was a legislative act back in 2008, was actually implemented by the O'Malley administration. And it required us to save 15% of energy based on a 2007 baseline by 2015. And we're very, very happy to say that the utilities, BG specifically, developed a group of programs to help customers meet that goal. And we did, in fact, meet that goal. We're extremely proud to say that our customers responded and participated in these great energy efficiency programs.
Okay, so from an individual homeowner standpoint, I now have all sorts of energy efficient light bulbs. None of them doing much else differently, still being, conservative with the thermostat. What else can people do?
So there's a lot of other things that customers can do, and I'll say also that irrespective of whether you live in a multifamily home and you're an apartment renter, or you live in a single-family home or a townhouse or whatever, you can find a program that you can participate in and save energy. Probably the quickest and easiest thing, if you've already gone to the retailers that we already have arrangements with where you can buy high-efficiency LED light bulbs, which sounds like you've already done that. I would encourage customers to participate in a quick home energy checkup. That's a 1-hour energy assessment. We send a Building Performance Institute certified individual into your home. They're not there to sell you anything. They're there to educate you on energy efficiency. And they will actually install in high-use areas some LED bulbs, some faucet aerators, low-flow shower heads. They walk out the door. You save $50 at least annually, just like that off of your utility bill. Plus, you get all kinds of education around how to save additional energy. They'll assess, it's called sort of a point audit, so they'll point to areas in your home where you can save even more, increase your comfort, as well as save energy.
What's the cost of that visit?
So I always say this to customers when I'm telling them about Empower. Take a look at your BG bill. There's a small line item on there called the Empower Maryland charge. That's part of the Empower Maryland Act. So the Commission has authorized us to charge every customer a small amount on their bill, but in return, they get to participate in these great programs. So you participate in just one of these programs, you can more than offset that charge. And your LED bulbs, that's you're saving about 90% of the old incandescent Edison type of bulb. It's applying technology, applying new products. It's amazing how much energy customers can save now.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about how to save some energy, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen, or you can tweet your questions. The Twitter address is @MPT News. Does this visit include like the blower door test where you're looking for areas of energy loss?
So the one that I just described is the quick home energy checkup. So the name implies that it's rather quick. A home performance with Energy Star audit is what you're talking about. And for $100, a contractor, a participating contractor will come into your home, and in that case, they'll install what's called a blower door test. And without getting too technical, basically it depressurizes your home, and it's an incredible thing if you've ever had one done. They'll suck the air out of your house, and of course you can still be inside the house. They just mildly depressurize it. But what it does is it emphasizes or exacerbates the areas where you have air coming into your home. And that's the place where you want to try to save energy. Cut down those leaks, add additional insulation. Customers participating in that can qualify for rebates up to thousands of dollars potentially, and save hundreds and hundreds of dollars on their bill over time, year after year after year.
So, I mean, that's a huge benefit. If somebody's older house, maybe they've got some window issues or they lack insulation in the attic, You're saying this program might cover half of that cost?
It can cover up to half of that cost, and we're always trying to adjust the program to encourage more and more participants. So I would highly recommend customers to participate in that program. Go to bgesmartenergy.com. You can see all the participating contractors. It's an easy phone call to make, and get involved.
Let's take a call from Allegheny County. This is Lisa. Lisa, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, I have solar panels and it's done a marvelous job, but I'm curious to know why my solar renewable energy credits are only worth like $6 and Washington, D.C. is $400.
Thank you very much. Different power system. Any idea?
Yeah, it's the solar industry certainly, and whatever a customer's getting paid for credits has a lot to do with the energy demand on the grid at the particular time. But solar as a whole, I would certainly encourage customers to take a look at that. That's a renewable energy sources, or number of renewable energy sources that customers might want to avail themselves to try to save energy and adapt and utilize technology.
Let me clarify something on the quick visit. Mm-hmm. If you're going to wind up getting some free light bulbs, basically, what if somebody doesn't want the low flow shower head?
Mm-hmm. Not an
In
issue.
other words, they like their high flow.
Sure.
And we're not in a drought.
Right. Yeah. Well, we certainly don't require customers to participate or take a particular measure. If a measure doesn't meet their needs, then that's fine. All we do is try to install the ones that they would be most interested in. If they're not interested in that, that's okay. But I would also encourage them to also look at other ways to save more holistically. Install a programmable thermostat. Today's thermostats are not only programmable, they're Wi-Fi enabled, as well as learning, which is an incredible piece of technology that helps customers lower their energy consumption automatically.
How much savings do you get out of moving the thermostat? Say everybody's going to be at work, mm-hmm. and it's August, and you let the temperature ride up a few degrees during the day and then cool it down. Is the energy that you're using late in the afternoon to cool it down, does it make up for what you save by changing the thermostat midday?
That all depends upon the energy efficiency overall of your home. There's a lot of variables, the sun exposure of your particular home. But generally what we recommend customers do is in the summertime set their thermostat to 78, and in the wintertime set their thermostat to 68. So any 1 degree temperature change above, let's say in the summertime 78, you save about 1%, roughly 1 to 1.5%. So, like I was saying before about having a programmable thermostat, really that's the way to have it work for you while you're not even there. And even if, like I said, the learning thermostats, they'll sense if a customer's not in the home, then they start to adjust the temperature at a setting that no one's there to even notice, and you're saving money automatically.
Let's take a call from Prince George's County. This is Lee. Lee, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
You spoke of someone coming in to tell how energy can be saved or how much you can save money-wise. How does this affect an apartment building or a senior citizens building?
Very good. Thank you so much.
Question. So it's important to note that from the building perspective, we have programs for business owners. So we would reach out to the property management company and encourage them to participate and have us come in and look at each of the apartments and have a quick home energy checkup done at this lady's residence. In addition, we can also apply the commercial programs that are similar, increase the insulation in the home, or in the apartment structure overall, improve the lighting efficiency in the common areas. So these programs can apply for both residential and business customers.
How do you feel about the customer response to this level of adoption of the light bulbs and the various site visits?
It's really been incredible. Our customer satisfaction has gone way up. We're a national leader in terms of customer satisfaction. We've had nearly 500,000 of our customers, BG has about 1.1 million residential customers, nearly half have participated in at least one program. So we're extremely proud to say that they have responded, our customers have reacted. We try to make them easy and effective for customers to be able to participate, and the numbers since 2009 when we started these have shown that customers have responded, and they appreciate this.
There was a period of time where like time of use metering was in effect, so you were encouraged to use energy at off hours. I have a dehumidifier running in the basement, doesn't need to run all the time. Do you want me to run it at night, or does it no longer matter?
So that's a time of use rate. We still have the time of use rate, but we've recognized that a time of use rate doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily, it might not be the best way. It might not work for all customers, but some customers might respond to it. But I would encourage customers that, if you're looking to save energy irrespective of what time of day, take a look at bgsmartenergy.com. There are a ton of options there for you.
And that's the best way to find out about one of these visits as well, bgesmartenergy.com.
bgsmartenergy.com. We've got the whole host of all the programs. You can schedule and sign up for a program right there.
Very good. Chris Walls with BGE, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. We're back Thursday at this time with Your Money and Business, and join us Friday for State Circle. Now, for all of us here at MPT, I'm Jeff Salkin. Thanks for watching Direct Connection, and have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.